K Suri Associates. A chart of accounts, COA, is a list of all accounts tracked by a double accounting system designed to capture financial data to make good financial decisions and to maintain books of account. 1.0 General Ledger. 2.0 Trial Balance. 3.0 The Chart of Accounts, COA. 4.0 Bookkeeping for Expenses. 5.0 Control Account. 6.0 General Ledger Code. 7.0 General Ledger, GL, Coding Guideline. 100,000 Liability Accounts. 100,000 Liability Accounts, first digit, major group total will provide liability account. Total. 110,000 Current liabilities, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide current liabilities, total. 110,000 Current liabilities. 120,000 Current liabilities, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide long-term liabilities, total. 8.0 120,000 Long-term liabilities. 9.0 130,000 Current liabilities, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide equity accounts total. 10.0 130,000 Equity accounts. 11.0 200,000 Asset accounts, first digit, major group total will provide asset account total. 12.0 210,000 Current assets, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide current asset total. 13.0 220,000 Current assets, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide fixed asset total. 14.0 220,000 Fixed assets. 15.0 230,000 Current assets, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide other asset total. 16.0 240,000 Other assets. 17.0 300,000 Revenue accounts, first digit, major group total will provide revenue account total. 18.0 300,000 Revenue accounts. 19.0 310,000 Revenue accounts group, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide revenue accounts group total. 20.0 310,000 Revenue accounts group. 21.0 400,000 Asset accounts, first digit, major group total will provide cost of goods sold account total. 22.0 400,000 Cost of goods sold. 23.0 410,000 Cost of goods sold, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide current liabilities total. 24.0 410,000 Cost of goods, product, sold. 400,000 Cost of goods sold. 25.0 500,000 Expenses accounts, first digit, major group total will provide expenses accounts total. 26.0 500,000 Expenses accounts. 27.0 510,000 Cost of goods sold, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide expenses group total. 28.0 510,000 Expenses group. 1.0 General Ledger. Every company must maintain accounting records. General ledger is a complete record of financial transactions over the life of a company. The ledger holds account information that is needed to prepare financial statements, and includes accounts for liabilities, assets, owner's equity, revenues, and expenses. General ledger is typically used by businesses that employ the double entry bookkeeping method, where each financial transaction is posted twice, as both a debit and a credit, and where each account has two columns. Because a debit in one account is offset by a credit in a different account, the sum of all debits will be equal to the sum of all credits. A company's general ledger can either be a physical book in which credits and debits are posted, or an accounting computer program where the various credits and debits are entered. For example, when a business pays the electric bill, the amount is entered into the general ledger as a debit to utilities expense, and a credit to cash. Because every financial transaction affects both a debit account and a credit account, the sum of the total general ledger debits and credits should always be equal. If this is not the case, then the general ledger is said to be out of balance, and must be corrected before accurate financial statements can be drawn from it. 2.0 Trial Balance. General ledger is summarized in trial balances and used to generate financial statements such as an income statement and a balance sheet. While historically the general ledger was handwritten in an accounting book, today most businesses use computer software to manage the ledgers. While a very small business might have a simple general ledger, the general ledger of a large business is likely to be very complex, involving multiple subsidiary ledgers. The chart of accounts, COA, is designed to capture financial transaction data for general ledger. Each account in the chart of account will be assigned a unique identifier, i.e., an account numbers. Each account in the chart will be classified into one of the 5 categories: liabilities, assets, equity, in liability account i.e., shareholders' equity, income, and expense. Financial accounting, end-to-end financial solution in the cloud system will record financial transaction data and will provide books, ledgers, trial balance, profit and loss, and balance sheet. It will also provide confidential information to decision makers and for internal auditors and external auditors. 4.0 Bookkeeping for expenses. The cloud-based end-to-end financial solution in the cloud system design is a double entry bookkeeping system in which expenses are recorded as a debit to an expense account and a credit to either an asset account or a liability account, which are balance sheet account. The following types of financial business transaction will be taken care by the designed financial system, end-to-end financial solution in the cloud. Liability accounts represent the different types of economic obligations by a business, such as accounts payable, bank loan, bonds payable, accrued interest. Asset accounts represent the different types of economic resources owned by a business. Common examples of asset accounts are cash, cash in bank, building, inventory, prepaid rent, goodwill, accounts receivable. Equity accounts represent the residual equity of a business after deducting from assets all the liabilities, including retained earnings and appropriations. Revenue or income accounts represent the company's gross earnings and common E0 include sales, service revenue, and interest income. Expense accounts represent the company's expenditures to enable it to operate. Common examples are electricity and water, rentals, depreciation, doubtful accounts, interest, insurance. Contra accounts, from the term contra, meaning to deduct, the value of which are opposite the 5 above mentioned types of accounts. For instance, a contra asset account is accumulated depreciation. This label represents deductions to a relatively permanent asset like building. 5.0 Control account. Control account. A control account is a summary level account in the general ledger. The control account contains aggregated totals for transactions that are individually stored in subsidiary level ledger accounts. Control accounts are most used for accounts receivable and accounts payable, since these areas contain a large volume of transactions, and so need to be separated into subsidiary ledgers, rather than cluttering up the general ledger with too much detailed information. The balance in a control account should match the total for the related subsidiary ledger. Control accounts are most used by large organizations, since them Transaction volume is very high. A small organization can typically store all of its transactions in the general ledger, and so does not need a subsidiary ledger that is linked to a control account. 6.0 General Ledger Code. A 6-digit coding system has been designed. These general ledger codes are directly related with profit and loss and balance sheet. The structure of general ledger code as shown above. First character will signify major group code. First 2 characters will signify subgroup code. First 4 characters will signify group code. Last 2 characters will be the running serial number of the group code. 7.0 General Ledger, GL, Coding Guideline. 100,000 Liability Accounts. 100,000 liability accounts, first digit, major group total will provide liability account. Total. 110,000 current liabilities, first 2 digit, subgroup total will provide current liabilities, total. 110,000 current liabilities. 110,101 accounts payable. 110,201 accrued expenses. 110,301 sales tax payable. 110,401 wages payable. 110,501 deductions payable. 110,601 health insurance payable. 110,701 payroll taxes payable. 110,801 tax payable. 110,901 income taxes payable. 111,001 other taxes payable. 111,101 employee benefits payable. 111,201 current portion of long-term debt. 111,301 deposits from customers. 111,401 other current liabilities. 120,000 current liabilities, first 2 digit, subgroup total will provide long-term liabilities, total. 8.0 120,000 long-term liabilities. 120,101 notes payable. 120,201 land payable. 120,301 equipment payable. 120,401 vehicles payable. 120,501 bank loans payable. 120,601 deferred revenue. 120,701 other long-term liabilities. 9.0 130,000 current liabilities, first 2 digit, subgroup total will provide equity accounts total. 10.0 130,000 equity accounts. 130,101 stated capital. 130,201 capital surplus. 130,301 retained earnings. 11.0 200,000 asset accounts, first digit, major group total will provide asset account total. 12.0 210,000 current assets, first 2 digit, subgroup total will provide current asset total. 210,101 cash on hand, main cash book. 210,102 petty cash. 210,201 bank account, bank 1. 210,202 bank account, bank 2. 210,202 bank account, bank 3. 210,202 bank account, bank 4. 210,301 investments, money market. 210,401 investments, certificates of deposit. 210,501 accounts receivable. 210,501 other receivables. 210,601 allowance for doubtful accounts. 210,701 raw materials inventory. 210,801 supplies inventory. 210,901 work in progress inventory. 210,901 finished goods inventory, product number 1. 210,902 finished goods inventory, product number 2. 210,903 finished goods inventory, product number 3. 211,001 prepaid expenses. 211,101 employee advances. 211,201 notes receivable, current. 211,301 prepaid interest. 211,401 other current assets. 13.0220,000 current assets, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide fixed asset total. 14.0220,000 fixed assets. 220,101 furniture and fixtures. 220,201 equipment. 220,301 vehicles. 220,401 other depreciable property. 220,501 leasehold improvements. 220,601 buildings. 220,701 building improvements. 220,801 land. 220,901 accumulated depreciation, furniture and fixtures. 221,001 accumulated depreciation, equipment. 221,101 accumulated depreciation, vehicles. 221,201 accumulated depreciation, other. 221,301 accumulated depreciation, leasehold. 221,401 accumulated depreciation, buildings. 221,501 accumulated depreciation, building improvements. 15.0230,000 current assets, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide. Other asset total. 16.0240,000 other assets. 240,101 deposits. 240,201 accumulated amortization, organization costs. 240,301 notes receivable, non-current. 240,401 other non-current assets. 130000 other assets. 240,501 deposits. 240,601 accumulated amortization, organization costs. 240,701 notes receivable, non-current. 240,801 other non-current assets. 17.0300,000 revenue accounts, first digit, major group total will provide. Revenue account total. 18.0300,000 revenue accounts. 19.0310,000 revenue accounts group, first two-digit, subgroup total will provide. Revenue accounts group total. 20.0310,000 revenue accounts group. 310,101 product number 1 sales. 310,201 product number 2 sales. 310,301 product number 3 sales. 320,000 interest income accounts group. 320,101 interest income. 330,000 other income accounts group. 330,101 other income. 340,000 finance charges accounts group. 340,101 finance charge income. 350,000 shipping charges reimbursed accounts group. 350,101 shipping charges reimbursed. 360,000 sales returns and allowances accounts group. 360,101 sales returns and allowances. 370,000 sales discounts accounts group. 370,101 sales discounts. 21,400,000 asset accounts, first digit, major group total will provide cost of goods sold account total. 22,400,000 cost of goods sold. 23,410,000 cost of goods sold, first two digit, subgroup total will provide current liabilities total. 24,410,000 cost of goods, product, sold. 400,000 cost of goods sold. 410,101 product number 1 cost. 410,201 product number 2 cost. 410,301 product number 3 cost. 420,101 raw material purchases. 420,201 direct labor costs. 420,301 indirect labor costs. 420,401 heats and power. 420,501 commissions. 420,601 miscellaneous factory costs. 420,701 cost of goods sold, salaries and wages. 420,801 cost of goods sold, contract labor. 420,901 cost of goods sold, freight. 421,001 cost of goods sold, other. 421,101 inventory adjustments. 421,201 purchase returns and allowances. 421,301 purchase discounts. 25,0500,000 expenses accounts, first digit, major group total will provide expenses accounts total. 26,0500,000 expenses accounts. 27,0510,000 cost of goods sold, first two digit, subgroup total will provide expenses group total. 28,0510,000 expenses group. 510,101 default purchase expense. 510,201 advertising expense. 510,301 amortization expense. 510,401 auto expenses. 510,501 bad debt expense. 510,601 bank fee. 510,701 cash over and short. 510,801 charitable contributions expense. 510,901 commissions and fees expense. 511,001 depreciation expense. 511,101 dues and subscriptions expense. 511,201 employee benefit expense, health insurance. 511,301 employee benefit expense, pension plans. 511,401 employee benefit expense, profit sharing plan. 511,501 freight expense. 511,601 gifts expense. 511,801 insurance expense, product liability. 511,901 insurance expense, vehicle. 512,001 interest expense. 512,101 legal and professional expense. 512,201 licenses expenses. 512,301 maintenance expense. 512,401 meals and entertainment expense. 512,501 office expense. 512,601 payroll tax expense. 512,701 penalties and fines expense. 512,801 other TA 0 ES. 512,901 rent or lease expense. 513,001 repair and maintenance expense, office. 513,101 repair and maintenance expense, vehicle. 513,201 supplies expense, office. 513,301 telephone expense. 513,401 training expense. 513,501 travel expense. 513,601 salaries expense, officers. 513,701 wages expense. 513,801 utilities expense. 513,901 other expense. 514,001 gain/loss on sale of assets. Thanks for watching.